And you don't take any supplements, right? And not that's another thing I wanted to ask you about the organs belief that people have
Yeah.
nowadays. You don't do that also, right? You just steak and salt, I assume.
That's it. Yeah, just meat, salt, water. So if people want to eat organs, that's fine. But I try to think of this in relation to the entire animal. If we're thinking about eating naturally, if you take down a buffalo and like a full-grown buffalo, that is enough meat to feed you for 2 years, realistically. And how many livers does it have? It's just got the one, right? So once you get through that liver, you'd have no more liver for the next 2 years, right? So, you have hundreds of pounds of skeletal muscle, meat, and fat to every 1 pound of liver. And so that just, so you shouldn't be eating out of that proportion, I don't think.
That's a
I
good
don't think
point,
that.
actually.
Yeah. So, and it may be beneficial to eat liver. It's very nutrient dense. If you're eating a standard diet, a standard American diet, standard Western diet, or even a processed garbage diet, liver's probably your best friend because you're going to be pretty nutrient deprived. And so eating liver regularly is probably a very good idea. And, if you're coming from that diet and you're trying to catch up on nutrients, having some liver at first is probably a good idea. Eventually it'll stop tasting good. It'll stop, you just like, oh, I don't really want to eat that. That's actually a feedback from your body saying that you don't need those nutrients. When I say I eat as much meat as I want to, it's literally that. I eat when it tastes good. As soon as it stops tasting good, I stop, because you're getting a positive feedback when your body wants those nutrients. As long as you're not eating sugar and carbs and all that sort of stuff, that disrupts your signals. But if you are eating what you're actually supposed to eat, like all other animals in the wild on their natural diet, they will have an automatic tell. Nature is natural; it just happens on its own. So a koala is not pulling out a calculator to figure out its macros. It's just eating while it tastes good, and it goes like, "Yeah, I'm not really interested anymore." And same with a lion, same with us. And so I eat steak. So by definition, I never get tired. People say that all the time. It's like, oh, don't you get sick of eating the same thing? Like, absolutely not. Because by definition, if I'm hungry, that will taste good. And then I'll eat until it stops tasting good, right? Because if a steak doesn't taste good, you're not hungry. But if it does taste good, you are. And so you should listen to that. And, you ask people as well, oh, do you get tired of that? It's like, does a cow get tired of grass? Does a lion get sick of gazelle? Like, no, like that's what they want to eat. That's all they want to eat. And this is all I want to eat. And so, yeah, no, you don't need to take supplements if you're eating your biologically appropriate diet by definition, right? You should be like, we're not giving B12 injections to panda bears and things like that. They get everything that they need from bamboo, right? So if you need to take supplements, then by definition, your diet is deficient, right? And so a carnivore diet isn't. And you look at different populations such as, the Inuit especially, they eat a lot of marine mammal like predators. So they'll eat a lot of seals and polar bears and things like whales even. And they don't eat those organs. They feed those to their dogs. And if you get, if you eat even, a moderate amount of seal liver, that you can get vitamin A toxicity. Any amount of polar bear liver will kill you from vitamin A toxicity. So, if people are eating, cow liver, it doesn't have nearly as much vitamin A as those animals do. However, it has a lot more than your skeletal muscle. And so, having a regular supply of liver and just a ton of liver and out of proportion with the animal, you can run into problems because it is nutrient dense. And the problem with nutrient density is if it's more dense than you need, it will become toxic. And vitamin toxicity is just as dangerous as vitamin deficiency.